Rodriguez, the man behind the curtain. You know, you always have to have a few good people in your inner circle. And I am so excited today because I have the one, the only Preston Weekes, who I met, actually, I'm thinking a couple years ago, or maybe 1 year ago. And he is amazing. He does so many different things. I can't wait for you to learn all about him. One of the things that struck me this week was on his Instagram. Centralizing sparks the journey to success. It's a new year. I don't know if you've noticed, but I feel like a little scattered with all of the different platforms out there and pulling things together and getting my message out to everyone and growing and doing it more easily, more efficiently, with a lot more fun and great joy. And Preston does this for many, many huge, important people. He has many different companies that he's extremely successful for. He's an author, he's a writer, he's a father, he has a wonderful family, he's very athletic, and you should see the way he coached his son, just to tell you a few bits. So without further ado, here is Preston Weekes. Yay, drum roll! Preston, thank you so much for coming today. This is so much fun. Whenever I've worked with him in the past, this is the office that he works from. And in the corner, he's got a drum set. Yes, he plays drums. He has dogs. He's like amazing. So Preston, if you were going to introduce yourself to the audience, what would you say about you?
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia, so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And so, that's a great question. If I was going to introduce myself to the audience, what would I say? Well, I say I build people and I build companies because I do a lot of different things, kind of like you were saying. But for me, it's that foundation of every single business, that foundation of every single thing we do, that human side, of it that I love, that's my passion. And then you're kind of mentioning, I love to systematize everything. So I'm a big systems nerd and I get into that. And that leads me into all the different avenues and companies that I'm in today. But yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your background.
So my background, I came from the car industry. Actually, I was trying to pay my way through school and I bought one $1,600 car and I got out of the auction, overheated, and I didn't have enough profit in it to tow it home. And so it took me like 5 hours to get the car home. But I fixed it and I sold it and I kept reinvesting in myself. And I reinvested in myself and I built that and I paid my way through college. And by the time I graduated college, I couldn't get a job that paid me more. So I started car dealerships. And then I owned and co-owned multiple car dealerships with verticals and different aspects of things that led me on to my entrepreneur journey. And it's just expanded from there. I've had an amazing venture and left the car business and went to the energy business and the advising and entrepreneur space and helping people. And it's just been a wild ride.
It's a good way to get started. Look at that. Those jobs you start to survive in school, they somehow circle back and keep you going. It's a good foundation. Make sure all the kids are working out there. You need that seed to develop good habits. So now what are you doing?
So now what I'm doing, I run 21 different websites. And they're all small businesses and they all stem around helping support entrepreneurs. Kind of like what you're saying, I do these little things and I systematize things. That's how I'm able to run so many different companies because I'm heavy into automation. I'm heavy into all these new technology tools that we have at our fingertips. And so I take those and I build things in my own company. And then when we figure out a solution, sometimes I can automate or systematize that and it becomes a new company or a new product or a new solution. So from the outside, sometimes it looks like chaos. But when you look at it from a 30,000 foot view, okay, these are all the pieces to what I'm trying to do in the world. And some of those are things like help people share their stories in their books, or do my training for emotional intelligence with my partner in London. And it's called Formula EQ. That's the human side of it. And so I get to spend my time building all these cool systems and all these fun things and just staying on the edge of innovation. in life. And so I absolutely love it. I'm excited to wake up every single day, and the future is good. There's so many exciting things happening too in the world. Like we're in a rapid place of change, right? We're in a rapid place where in the world it won't look the same. I believe 5 years from now as it does today, just with AI and all the different implementations of things. And so, what does that mean? For people kind of sometimes they fear or they get scared of uncertainty and change. But change means opportunity. So now there's more opportunity than there's ever been in the past because so much change is happening over the next 5 years. So when you find things that you align with as a person, then you can be a part of that change. And then it gets exciting.
Very exciting. So you jump out of bed, ready to go. What's the first thing you do? What's your little morning routine? You wake up and you're like, yes, I got so much to do. And
yeah. So I live circadian rhythm. And so that's one of the things I used to be an insomniac, and every high performer I've found, almost every high performer that I've known personally has a morning routine on some level. And so, and I do have my own morning routine. So I try and wake up before the sun comes up. That's the basic idea of circadian rhythm, is to live as much life as you can in the sunlight. And so that's how I simplify it. And so I try to wake up before the sun comes up, and I keep that morning to myself. That's my time to reset. That's my time to reposition and set myself up for who I'm going to be that day or what I'm going to do that day. Because that's the most powerful time. A lot of times we wake up and we become a victim to this, this thing, right? And so most people, when they wake up and sleep in and they wake up and the alarm goes off, they grab this because it is their alarm. And then they look at it. They look at it and they see the things that come in on it, text, responses, social media, all the things. And then the rest of the day, they live a life of response. They live in a life of, so people don't think, they don't lead their actual thoughts in life. And so I'm really intentional. I create a space, I do meditation, I do exercise, and I do personal study every single morning. And I do a version of that. And that's what I also teach at my Formula EQ Academy, is that people need those things at whatever their level is, the emotion and, personal study and, personal reflection time. And people can design that in their own life. But they think, oh, I need to get busy, or I need to get things done, right? And then they go charging through the day. But that's the biggest mistake that people make, is because when they go charging through the day, then they're not operating at 100%. They're operating at like 80% or 70 or 60 or something, all sorts of, because they're distracted and they're not subconsciously focused on what they're trying to do. So I love that. I live life with intention, deep intention all the time, but I set it up in the morning.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I do it.
Yeah.
And I hope our listeners are already doing it. But if they're not, guys, this is the magic. This is the magic in your day and your life. You have to design your life how you want it now. And Preston obviously has the key to that. So there you've got that piece going. Then what do you do? So when do you see the family? What do you have for breakfast? What do you start on? Where are you in the world? Because there's different time levels for your London calls as opposed to your...
Yeah. So I have different days. I segment different projects out, and I usually have a pretty light breakfast. I just have like a yogurt, like a good natural low sugar type of yogurt to start my day. And then I get going. And once I'm done with my morning routine, I check in with my assistant. My assistant checks in with me at 6 o'clock every single day with what she's got ready for me. So I check in with her and I approve everything that she's supposed to do, for the day. And then, get that ship rolling, get everyone kind of going on their tasks that I'm coordinating with, and then go from there. And I'll compartmentalize different sections of my companies for different days. So I can focus on posting parties one day, and focus on mastermind retreat organization one day, and focus on publishing company one day, or this or that. And so I hop around, but I carve out time. And that's one thing. It's so important today at our busy schedule, because we live in a schedule where we could, oh, hey, Doug, what's up? We didn't catch up soon too. I see you in the chat there. Let's go to lunch. But we have these busy schedules and we need to plan out our time. We have time that we need to plan. And if we don't, those are the things that actually lead to anxiety, stress, because when there's uncertainty, sometimes I've heard clients or different things go, oh, I don't like to be too scheduled. I don't want to feel boxed in. I want to have freedom. But then they also feel disorganized. They feel like their life's too busy. There are all these other things. So we have to schedule, and all the way down to when you're going to work on your company and when you're going to not work on your company, when you're going to have personal time. So that's what I've always done really well, is I schedule time. To get back to what you kind of asked, with my kids, I schedule time with my kids. I schedule time with my wife. Because if I don't actually schedule that time, it doesn't happen. And I've been married now 15 years. And the reason why we've made it this far is because we've done that. We've scheduled the time and we come back together. We have a place to come back together, and so we have to schedule out our life. Same thing with the kids. Like they'd be missing me. The time goes by fast. The kids are 18. I've got an 11-year-old who's turning 12 this weekend. I've got 6 years till he's gone, like out of my house and on his own, out charging through the road. 6 years. And, I've got, I'm pushing on the years where he still thinks I'm even somewhat cool, right? And so there's like all these different things, where he'll stop listening to me or whatever, does happen. So you have to be so intentional and coordinate and schedule all the different pieces of your life, because it really helps life to flow, and it helps you to be able to relax in between. Because if we don't have that time that's intentional to relax, then we tend to miss it. It tends to slip by, and time's too fast, to slip by with that.
So you're already concerned about these 6 years. So you're already doing cool things to make sure that you're there and that you're friends and buddies and a role model for your son and your twins. I know you really helped coach your son. That's a pretty good little story. Do you want to tell a little bit about that? Because I loved the story, guys.
Yeah. So I do. I spend time, coaching with the basketball. I coach basketball, and I also spend time running a youth group too. I donate time, twice a week. I help volunteer with a group of young boys, and my son's also in that. And there's 16 boys total. And to help to not only spend time with my son, but also I think building the youth to be powerful people is really important to me. I mean, that's one of my missions is to build powerful people. But I do that, with my sons and my daughter and also other kids too. But I've had the opportunity to spend the time and, go and coach. And I got to coach this league. I had the other coach come to me and he said, hey, I'm not going to do this unless you come and do it with me. And so he came and asked me to do it. But it's funny, the first time I ended up coaching, I was an assistant coach, and it came out of default. And my wife got mixed up with this whole situation. We ended up down in this city league, and it was in a kind of a rough area of Phoenix. And, I was like, well, this will be a good experience, because it was different than where we lived. And so I was like, we'll go down there and we'll go through the season. Well, we go through the season, and I was helping assist coach that basketball team. And the real coach who was coaching that team was a kind of a rough dude. And he ended up threatening to kill one of the referees. Long story, exciting, crazy thing. But so he got kicked out, right, obviously, of the whole club. He couldn't come back anymore. The police came and everything. So guess who had to coach? So I had to step up and start coaching the whole league, and did that. And then I ended up having so much fun. I did it another season. But, you have to have that time. You have to carve out, that time where you can spend time and be an influence to your kids before they're gone, whatever it is. If it's playing a game, or if it's doing things, or if it's, and also too, all three of my kids are very different. And I learned that I can't push them into being what I want them to be or what I think they should be. I have to foster them to be who they are. Right? Because we're all different. We all have unique superpowers. And
Exactly.
because some other people's superpowers are different than your superpowers doesn't mean they're any less. And so I've learned that as a parent, luckily. And I've tried to do what I can to foster my kids in their superpowers. Because my daughter, she's very different, right? And she's a creative. She's like my butterfly. I call her but she's social. She's like the nicest, kindest person. She's funny. She's a comedian. She's an obsessive reader and a storyteller. So she's like amazing in her own space. So we need to find, people for where they are and then embrace them for that and celebrate that.
Sounds like you're getting a lot of good opportunities through these children. It's a wonderful thing.
It's making me learn, that's life, right? Everything we get involved in, we learn, and we become better if we don't become worse from it. So,
or you also showed your son and the other children in Phoenix that there's a better way, because we need role leaders and leaders like you in the community, because these kids are going to get the wrong impression that that's okay, and that is not okay. So I'm really proud of you for taking over and going back to do it again. That's even better.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I couldn't abandon the kids down there, and they were good kids, and so I kept with it and did it another season. But yeah, it is, thank you, for that. And people do need more positive role models, and sometimes there's a drought in certain areas with positive role models. I'll say it that way. You know what I mean? Like, because some areas tend to adopt a lot of negativity, right? It just generally in the culture or the society or whatever, and it becomes a part of the life. They start to live it, and those are the areas where kids need positive role models so that they can understand that there's more options in life, right? Than maybe what they were told.
And you're setting up your son to be a positive role model already.
Yeah.
I love the story of him becoming the school president.
Thank you.
A little bit about that. That was really, really cool. And how old was he then?
11. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. So tell the story.
Yeah. So that's why I said I love building powerful people. And obviously something I'm doing is leading my kids to try to be powerful people, because it's working. And my son came to me and said, "Hey, I want to run for school president."
I was like, yeah.
So, we did it. I said, "Okay, I'll support you." But I didn't want to support him in the way that some people do, where they go, "Oh, I'll finance all these propaganda tools and all these different things like buy stickers and stuff, whatever." I'm overstated it, but like those kind of things where some parents did that, and they support these candidates. They buy lots of things. They give them out of school to get the votes. I was like, no, I'm going to make you earn this. I'm going to teach you to be a good speaker. I'm going to teach you to be a powerful speaker. And so I coached him about his talk, because he had to give a talk to the school. And I said, when you go in there, everyone's going to be scared to talk, and they're going to probably be reading their talks, and they're going to kind of sound boring. I was like, when you go up there, I was like, let's figure out what you're going to say. And then I want you to practice it, and I want you to feel comfortable about it. But I don't want you to worry about the words. I want you to feel what you say. And when you say it, you feel it. Now, who cares if you say it right or you say it wrong? But you connect with the people in the audience when you talk to them. And it'll separate you from everyone else in the crowd. And I taught him how to do it. We practiced it, and he went up and he gave his talk. He knocked it out of the park. I mean, I was almost in tears. That was such a proud dad moment. And at the end of the the whole thing, the event, the whatever, the assembly, that's the word I'm looking for. The kids, he's the last one to talk. They start cheering for him. They kept cheering for him. 5 minutes went by. All the kids are dispersing from the cafeteria, and they're still chanting his name. So that's the impact, right? That's the pay it forward, impact that you create when you spread positivity. And it was just amazing to experience. So thanks for asking about that.
Yeah, and there he is now to spread it in his school to everyone there. Everyone there.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. How are you designing your life in the future for you?
How do I design life in my future for me?
Yeah.
Well, me, I get lit up by helping people. That's one thing. Like, it was funny. I was doing really well in the car business, and I was like 35. I'm 42 now. Maybe I was like 33.
A kid.
And we went down to Thailand, and we were hanging out there, and the exchange rate's very favorable in Thailand. And I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, we could just sell everything and just retire, like right now, like, because it's so cheap here. And we could just live on an island and hang out and snorkel, and I could run a dive shop for the rest of my life or something like that. But like, I wouldn't want to do that. I would be bored. I mean, I love Thailand. I would love to live there, but I have a bigger vision, and my where I imagine myself as impacting people. And I've done that on my levels I've done now, but I want to expand that, too, because I've been able to speak to tons and tons of people, but to design my life, I think there's that saying, if you retire, you expire.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think we need passion, and connecting and aligning with who we are and what we want to do. And so I plan on, I am so happy building, fun solutions that help people. Like I'm keep doing that and spend my time doing that every day, and then play with my kids, in between, and travel the world, because I love traveling. I know you're a travel fan, yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've always actually made that a priority in my marriage, which has been amazing. My wife loves to travel, and we've traveled the whole time we started dating. We traveled. They said, "Oh, when we got a dog." It's, "Oh, you're not gonna be able to travel as much." We just dragged our dog around the world. And then they're like, "Oh, you're gonna have a kid. You're not gonna be able to travel as much." We dragged our kid around the world. And then we were like, "Oh, we're having twins." 2.5 years later, so we have 3 under 2.5. Yeah, you're not going to be able to travel. We drag the kids around the world. I take my kids to China, take them to Bali, take them to Mexico, take them to all these places, and I don't adopt other people's excuses. And we've traveled since we've been married an average of at least every other month, my whole marriage, and so that's amazing to be able to have sustained that, and because you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it the way that people set up all these blocks that stop them from doing it. Like, it has to be a certain way, blah, 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 whatever. And all the things, I have to have a certain amount of money. I have to have a certain amount of time. It's like, no, time, like now, like it's this weekend, just go to a place you want to go to and come back. And you don't have to spend an exorbitant amount. You can actually just go somewhere and live the same life you're living at home somewhere else too. Like, so people can remove all their preconceived notions of what it's supposed to be and just go experience life at all these amazing things. But anyway, yeah, you love that stuff. So
and it lights you up, and it comes back, and you have a better feeling for the culture of the world, and you understand others better, because you got to see it outside your shoes and walk in their shoes. Where's your favorite place? I know it's a question, because you probably the favorite place, like for you and your wife, and then the favorite place for your family, and then the favorite place for your business. How about 3?
Yeah, well, I love Thailand because I love the beaches and things there, and we've talked about some beaches, you and I, and I love all the beach stuff. One that we love to get away, we go up to northern Idaho, and it's a town called Sandpoint, and it's north of Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene's famous for their lake and their golf resort. It's about 45 minutes north of there. That's one of our favorite spots in the summer, and it's pretty decent skiing in the winter too. A little pocket. But yeah, it's a lake, a beautiful lake. It's 50 miles from end to end. It's one of the deepest lakes in North America, and it's the only inland U.S. naval base. So you'll see like nuclear submarines sometimes in the lake. And yeah, it's a neat little spot. We love that. But and yeah, I mean, just any beach, and I love the mountains. Just getting out and doing it. I know I gave you kind of 2.5 answers.
Yeah.
But,
So the third one was business.
yeah,
where they're paying you, huh?
yeah, business. I love traveling for business. Yeah, I love getting paid to travel. So yeah, I'll go anywhere. And that's what's funny too, is like but I will say, I've been a little sketched out with some of the stuff with Mexico, but outside of some of the, in traveling around Mexico with the cartel issues and stuff like that, I'll go anywhere.
That sounds very wise. Very, very wise. Very, very wise. Who is your mentor? Who got you thinking all the right way? It looks like the right way to me. It's amazing. You're like, I love it. So who is your inspiration?
I've had a lot of mentors in my life. So yeah, that's a good one. It's my early off. I got into all the thought leaders and the Tony Robbins and the things like that. When I was 16 years old, I flew to Atlanta and I walked on coals.
You saw that. Awesome.
Yeah, like I have been into that my whole life. Yeah, like I actually. So funny thing. So I actually studied all this stuff, and I wanted to do this. I wanted to speak from stage. I wanted to, be someone like that as a kid. Even as a little kid, I thought that would be amazing, to do. And now I get to do that, and so I followed those people. Mark Victor Hansen obviously has been a huge impact, in my life, and I've learned so much from Mark, and he's taught me so many things about how to think bigger and expand, my thoughts. And, I've had a couple of different mentors that are just kind of no-name people, that are amazing people. Like I have this mentor, his name's Ron Jones. You probably couldn't find him on any news or social media, but he's the CEO of Han, which is like one of the largest office furniture companies. He's a CEO of Sealy Bed Mattress Company, and he took Sealy and took over the whole company, got investment from Bain Capital, and restructured the whole company, redid it, and flipped it for $2.7 billion.
Ooh.
And he's invisible, he's not on any social media. He's not on anything, but, he's been my mentor. And so, amazing, people. And my grandpa, who just passed away, he was a big mentor in my life, so, but what's cool is when you look at mentorship and these people that we learn from in life, I have this incredible lineage of mentorship. So I'm a descendant of Einstein, right? Because when you follow this stuff out, say you got Einstein, and then under Einstein's tutelage was Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller. And Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller, Mark Victor Hansen, studied under Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller for 7 years. And I have worked directly under Mark since 2016 and known him for longer than that. So I'm, have a lineage of wisdom from Einstein, right? And this is just one example, but there's probably many other examples. And so it's so neat to go, and who are your mentors? And because that's a hard question, to really pin down. Like I have so many. I love studying life, and I'm just an obsessive studier of it. I read books like I've probably done, I don't know, I've read 3 books this month, but so I love that. But it's an interesting concept, right? To think about like the lineage of thought, because it's one thing that I talk about a little bit, but what I teach, they go, oh, why do you learn that? Did you certified or this? You got that from this doctor or this or guru or Jesus or Gandhi or this or whatever. I go, no, it's eternal truths. There's eternal truths. I call them eternal truths that are just things that are true about being human, right? And those are the things that I anchor on. I've studied my whole life, and I try to filter out the things that seem to hold eternally true for all humans. So that's where I focus, like on my studies with Formula EQ. It's all about being human. So it's the human experience, right? Because people focus on what's different, what divides us. They focus on race, religion, gender, economics, political party, all these things that like tend to divide people apart, right? On some level, or segment and categorize people as different, but the human experience is the exact same. So we all, it doesn't matter what you believe, where you live, we all experience love. We all experience happiness. We all experience fear. We all experience stress. We all experience, anxiety. We all experience joy, like all these different things. And that's the exact same. So the only actual difference between all of us are how we connect to the things that we go through. It's not even really the things that we go through that matter, because some people can go through the same things and they connect differently, right? And so it's actually, when you strip all that back, the human experience is what we feel, and how our feelings help us to show up in the moment. And through humanity, it's the same. We're all the same. And when you break it down like that, then we can start to solve problems, and we can start to understand it, and we can kind of gain control over what's going on in our brains, in our lives, in our world. And I love that. That's my passion, big time.
And move forward all together.
Yeah.
Now we just have to bring the whole world in on this. A couple people are missing it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's a lot of like hostile things, division, anger, stress, feelings, and the truth is, it's not necessary. And it's hard to say this without being able to argue face to face with anyone that doubts me, because I could prove it. But we create it, we create it in our own life by adopting it, by being stress or by being fear. We're creating it in the world on some level, and so it's an interesting space, to think about.
Yeah, so we live in the greatest time of the world. We have more than anyone had. We live better than kings and queens.
Right.
And if you get rid of all the bad stuff, the negative stuff, and just focus on the good stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone would be, my acting teacher, Glenn Morshower, has a saying that I like. It's like, that was old, this is new, goodbye. And you look in the direction and you let all that bad stuff go, because it didn't happen to you, it happened to her or him. Yeah. You let it go and put it behind you. Yeah. That is old, this is new, goodbye. And you move on to the joy, and there's no reason to be suffering. You pick up all the good stuff, because every day you got breath, we're here. You eat out your 500 billion sperms to be born. Yeah. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Because the hourglass is ticking. You were counting the 6 years to your son's 18. Yeah. Wow. You got to enjoy all these moments and bring the best life, the best life. And I love that you're reading. And what you said, you read 3 books last month or this month already?
So yeah, I've been burning. I'm always reading books. I do audiobooks, so I don't actually sit down and read them, but I do that as part of my morning routine. And this is a cool trick. So I know a guy named Jim Stovall. So Jim is blind, and he wrote the book and also the movie, The Ultimate Gift. So a lot of people saw The Ultimate, fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. But he's blind. So I flew out of this speaking event in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I meet up with Jim. He's country club member at Southern Hills, which is like the coolest golf club in Tulsa. So we meet and we hang out there and we're talking and eating lunch. And he's telling me, I read a book a day. I was like, well, first of all, you're blind, but how do you read? Now, obviously, it does audiobooks, but second of all, how do you do that? One book a day like that? Like, you don't have anything happening in life, or like what, and this guy is not lazy. He's, he could be retired, but he runs a TV station that's for the blind, which, I don't understand quite how that works, but he does all these different things, he like does all these different entertainment companies and things, and he does it all for the blind. And, but I was like, how do you do that? And he's like, you have all your five senses, right? He's like, I don't have to see. So he's like, I can focus more on my hearing than you can, because it takes up, my brain is less occupied. And so I read my books at 6x the speed. So he says he reads it at 6 times the speed, and he reads a book a day. I was like, holy cow. And he processes it. And so I've been working on building my, ability to up that. And I can get up to like 3.5, but that's like pushing it, and it depends on how well the narrator is for me. But one thing that helped me to level up from like, say, 2.5 to 3.5, is the focus. I tested his theory. And if I sit down and I close my eyes, I take away one of my senses, then I can do audiobooks 1 multiplier faster.
Ooh.
Huh.
Hey, everyone, you might want to try that. That's kind of cool.
That's a fun thing that you can actually try today, is if you do audiobooks, is to go and take away your experiences. If I'm walking, if I'm driving, if my eyes are open, I have to slow it down a little bit. Maybe I'm 2.5 or 2, but if I'm sitting and my eyes are shut, I'm 3.5. And I'm building that skill.
That is so cool. I can't wait to try that and see that movie, The Ultimate Gift. I have not seen it. So I'll add that to my list. So what would your younger self say to your older self right now?
Ooh, never sell any property.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We all learned that one.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, no, and well, the biggest thing though that I have learned is, and I actually have learned, like really adopted, is that I'm not my problems.
Excellent.
And that's actually one of the biggest distinguishing things I learned in my personal journey that helped save my sanity, And so, like, I don't know if you want to hear that story a little bit, but I was running my car dealerships, and I was rocking it, and I had 2 car dealerships, and I had financing at this other lot, and because I was trying to expand and I was trying to buy all these new cars, and I bought the new lot, new inventory, new staff, doubling up. And so I was leveraged, and the company that was financing my inventory, the other lot, got acquired. So all of a sudden they call my note due. So overnight, basically, I have like a very substantial 7-figure sum that's due. And I don't have any money to float that, because I just stretched myself to make this all work now and bought all this other stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna fail. Like I don't at the time know how to deal with this and make it out. And I felt like a failure. And I employed like 32 people that relied on me. They're my friends and my family, and I felt like I let them down. And I was depressed. I was like defeated as a person. But I had let that failure become me, right? I let that failure become me. That situation, that dealership where it was failing and it was going to get shut down, but I was experiencing that on the human level. I was shutting down. And this is common for business owners. This is common for people that get in financial struggles. This is common for people that go through challenges, divorce, or any tragedy or anything, right? They think that they are that problem, and they don't actually separate themselves from that situation. And so I was accepting myself as a failure. I was accepting myself as this whole loss, and I realized that there are two things happening. The business was failing, and I was actually an amazing person.
Yes.
There are two different things. They were completely separate. They had no association whatsoever. And I was tricking myself, and I was driving myself insane. Yeah. And when I realized that, I mentally, could reposition. I got into a new partnership. I started 9 more car dealerships and set tons of records and became all these things. So it was that differentiator, that understanding the difference, that I wasn't actually the problem. The problem was separate from me. I was an amazing person who could take $1,600 and turn that into a company that did $63 million a year in sales, and build a team that loved me so much that they would work with me even if I didn't pay them because the business was shutting down, right? Like I was that person, right? And that's not a person who's a failure.
Correct.
So understanding that, it changed my life. And so, yeah, that's my answer.
That was an excellent answer, an excellent example. And you are amazing. You are amazing.
Thank you. You are too.
Amazing. You know our little chant. You are amazing.
I
am amazing. We are amazing.
Oh yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Absolutely. No, it is. And I know that now. I've never been confused of that again since.
What is your life legacy going to be?
Ooh, my life legacy. I mean, that's it. I think, it's teaching, people how to be powerful themselves, how to do that themselves, and really creating that, and expanding that throughout the world and beyond me. And I've been able to do that. But I think that's going to be my legacy. And part of that I live through my kids and other things, and all the the books or the courses and the things you put out there in the world. But I think that's it. I'm working on a book right now, and I haven't come up with the title, but it's all about happiness. It's all about happiness, because when you really look at it, you say Google tons. What does everyone want and not have? And you look at all the different lists of all the different answers. At the top, basically, of all these different lists becomes happiness. But like it's this thing that people are trying to get. They say the American dream, or the pursuit of happiness, right? Yeah. And people have a complete misconception of what happiness is, or how to find it, or how to live it, or how they are experiencing it also. And so I've studied this for a very long time in very heavy depth, and psychologically all the way down to, the practice of it. But the truth is that, you know, we are happiness, and nothing else is. And if that's true, then that means that you're the creator of happiness. And we're creators. We're powerful creators on this world. I believe that that's our role here, on whatever level of you believe in. I think that our role here is to be powerful creators. And what we create is how we act, and what we send out is, you know, this energy that we live every single day. And so if that's true, which I could go through a lot of different things to prove that I believe it is, then we're the creators of happiness, and we can actually be happiness. We can actually be that. If we are the creators of it, we are it, and we don't recognize it. We need to build the skills to recognize it. And kind of like, you know, we were talking about earlier, some of those, you know, those quick things that people can add in are the access points, like gratitude, you know.
Yes.
But gratitude too is empty, because I go, okay, oh, I practice more gratitude. Oh, I wake up, I feel thankful. Yeah, I don't though, right? You know, because some people, I do. But saying to people, they fake it, right? They go, oh, you tell me to be grateful, but I'm not, you know. Or, you know, but then there's other things that you can do, other access points and other tools to help you, like service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Service. I tell people service is an access point to living a life bigger than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met a lot of really successful people my whole life. I've been around a lot of really incredible people, and I've seen people that are happy and sad, and people that would be considered successful from the outside, and internally they don't feel successful.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's that difference, you know, of like living it and being it, and showing up as it, and we can embody that, and then we become that, and then we start to create that change around us. Because when I ran a renewable energy company for 3 years, and negotiated some exclusive rights, and then sold the company. And but when I ran that company, I realized, you know, you look at energy generators, and they generate electricity, like, and they have a fuel source, and they generate electricity, and then they transmit it. And we're energy generators. We have, you know, we consume things, and we go, okay, and our body breaks it down into energy, and then we exude that energy, we expend it. But this isn't a barrier. It's actually a conductor, you know, and so the energy doesn't stop here. And also we have receptors. So, you know, we feel and conduct and transmit and share that energy all the time. And there's tons of studies around us that if you do these different things, you can see that it's measurable. And I've done different cool tests where, like, because I'm a car nut, where like you can put like a key up on your chin, and you can unlock your car from about twice as far if it's touching your chin as if you would just holding it in your hand.
Hey guys, we got to try that.
Yeah, so that's another fun thing. And you can see, what does that mean though? It means you're a transmitter, right?
Yes.
It means you're a transmitter. And so, and then this thing, it transmits too, right? So like I this isn't connected to anything, but I could call you, and I could talk to you on the other side of the country right now, and in space and time, we could be together, but physically we're not together. So then the argument is only distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a transmitter. So how far can I transmit?
Well, I can feel you here. I can feel your energy. You can feel mine. We've been connected this whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. And that, I believe that's true, you know, too. I do. I believe that's true. And it's fun. It's a fun space to be. And when we can show up, you know, as happiness and joy and love and light and energy and positivity in the world, and we can transmit that across the world, I think we can change the world.
That light inside you, you have to remember to give it out. You have to smile at people, talk to people, find out their story, and listen, communicate.
Yeah.
How would people reach out to you, Preston, if they want to find out more about your books and your seminars and all the cool places you're talking and doing?
Yeah. If you want to reach out to me, you can text the phone number 21,000, text Preston. So the phone number is 21,000. So if you type in your phone, in your text message, 21,000, and then in the message, type my name, Preston, and hit send. It'll give you my digital business card, and you can contact me and you can reach out to me. And if you go to formulaeq.com, you can come visit for free as my guest one time and come check out the academy. Come talk to me and my partner in London. Come experience one of our live events every single Friday that we host. That's on a life-changing topic around just how to live better. My mantra is relentless improvement, because I'm not perfect. I don't need to be, but I'm just trying. I'm just trying to do better than I did yesterday to live the life I want to be. And I act the way now that I want to be tomorrow. And that's it.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm so grateful that you are here with me.
Thank you.
Let's bring Eric in. Are there any questions or anything that we need to pop out there? Because we've got this amazing gentleman, and I want to make sure everyone can reach out to him. I've already been to that Formula Q. Am I allowed to come back?
Yes, absolutely. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you, Preston. Thank you, Preston. I can't see the chat, so I'm not sure if there's any answers or questions. Do you see it, Preston?
There aren't any in the chat here.
Okay,
Just,
Eric.
Some good wishes.
I can't see your beautiful face. I can only see your circle.
Yes, here I am back.
Right at the time, because Preston's going to play basketball with his son, right? Or
I got another basketball team I got to coach tonight, so it's headed off to the basketball court after this.
Eric, do you have a question for Preston?
I don't. I thought that was a wonderful conversation. I got so much out of it. We'll be having that replay up and send it out along with Formula EQ, which looks just wonderful. So I'll definitely be checking out one of those upcoming events. And I recommend everybody listening in to do that as well. And we'll include that in the email going out, as well as the posts on all of the social media platforms too.
Awesome.
So in closing, you are amazing. I am amazing. We are amazing. Yay! And you know what? You can never be sad when you're screaming that out. I am amazing. We are amazing, and we can make this whole world even more amazing. Love you. Thank you.
Everybody.
Grateful.
Love you all.